travelers eager to get back into the air and off to their holiday destination. The busiest airports, Chicago O'Hare, LAX, and McCarran Airport in Las Vegas. But air travel is still getting up to speed in spots. American dealing with a pilot shortage, and the TSA also has staffing issues.
ABC's Gio Benitez, the Trump Organization and its longtime CFO have pleaded not guilty to a string of tax fraud charges related to fringe benefits. Alan Weisselberg was released without bail, but he could face years in prison if he doesn't turn on the former president. And the Manhattan District Attorney's Office received much of their information from Weisselberg's former daughter-in-law, Jennifer, who says her former father-in-law was taking part in a tax fraud scheme.
No, it wasn't a gift. It was a way to lower your compensation. It was a way to lower everything, 401k, payroll tax. It was a way to scam on taxes.
Former President Trump called the criminal charges against Weisselberg a disgrace and shameful. Plans in Florida to demolish what's left of the South Florida collapsed condo building.
Large columns of the remaining structure shifting 6 to 12 inches overnight Thursday, causing a safety scare for rescue workers. The job has been physically grueling and mentally daunting. The workers pressing on. Some rescue workers also coming down with COVID-19.
ABC's Faith Abube in Surfside, Florida. Still 145 people unaccounted for, the death toll standing at 18. Lawyers for the Boy Scouts of America say the organization has agreed to pay $850 million to survivors of child sex abuse. You're listening to ABC News.
If the pandemic's taught us anything, it's that the easiest way for germs to get into your body is the nose. We all know how to wash our hands, but how do you clean your nose? For over 2 million Americans, the answer is Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, and germs that cause congestion, colds, and flu, so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. Better yet, Navage is all natural and drug-free. That's why one of America's top respiratory hospitals recommends nasal irrigation to stay healthy, explaining that bacteria and viruses thrive in warm and moist environments, and that you can wash away those germs so they don't make your nose their home. Experience Navage at zero risk. Go to Navage.com, buy Navage, and use it for a month. If you're not delighted, return it for a full refund. There's nothing to lose and a lifetime of better breathing to gain. Also available at Target, Walgreens, CVS, Bed Bath, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E.
More gun violence in Chicago. At least 5 people, including a baby, were injured in a shooting last night on the city's south side. ABC's Michelle Gallardo.
We have a baby between 1 and 2 months old who was shot along with 4 other people. And of course, this is not the only shooting involving a child. We were originally here following a 9-year-old girl who is fighting for her life after being shot in the head while riding in the back seat of her mother's car.
City officials have expressed concern about increased violence over the 4th of July holiday. Well, we'll get more clues on the state of the economy with the June jobs report released today.
The job market is continuing to heal.
We can think back about a year ago when we had a double-digit unemployment rate. Now we have an unemployment rate that has been below 6% for the U.S. as a whole.
Bankrate senior financial analyst Mark Hamrick says that could be reflected in the Labor Department's June employment report.
The expectation here is that the official unemployment rate will slip a bit from May's 5.8% reading, perhaps down to 5.6%.
Hamrick expects segments that were hit hardest during the pandemic, especially hospitality, to see the most growth. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Toyota is now the #1 automaker when it comes to sales in the U.S., taking the top spot from General Motors. Analysts say the shortage of semiconductor chips has hurt GM production more than Toyota. This is ABC News.
Ad paid for by CompleteCar.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to the COVID crisis, we are announcing a low-cost extended service plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay nothing for auto repairs. Call 800-549-1985 now. Drivers who are covered by this auto protection will not have to pay for a covered repair bill again. 800-549-1985.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the list.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Scattered to widespread rain is moving from north to south across the area this morning. Those showers will continue this afternoon and taper off by this evening. Our highs today will be in the lower 80s. Could see a few stronger thunderstorms as well this afternoon. Drier for tomorrow, we'll see a mostly sunny to partly cloudy sky with highs Saturday in the low 80s and looking just as lovely for the 4th of July Sunday, highs in the mid to upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Well, they predicted a little rain for us today, and it sure came. We've had rain pretty much all evening and into this morning, and it will continue to do so throughout today. About a 70% chance of that rain happening throughout today with a possible a quarter to 1/2 of an inch accumulation. Now, after today, though, clearing out tonight, mostly clear tonight, with lows around 58, and the weekend for July 4th celebration is absolutely beautiful. Can't complain about it. The weather this weekend and the first of next week, which somebody will probably find something to complain about, but otherwise it is a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Right now we are at 71 degrees here at WCAB in beautiful downtown Whiteside Road. Good morning, everybody. I have these death announcements. Ginger Paget Guy, age 58 of Forest City, died Wednesday, June 30th at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills due to family members that are currently out of the country. Her funeral service will be held on Saturday, July 24th at 11 o'clock in the First Baptist Church of Forest City, with visitation to follow in the Family Fellowship Hall of the church. A more detailed obituary will be posted coming days from Paget King Mortuary for Ginger Paget Guy. Catherine Jeanette Thompson Brock, age 77 of Cove Road, passed away Saturday, June 26th at her home. A celebration of life will be held from 4 until 6, Saturday, July 17th at Crow's Mortuary, College Avenue, Rutherford. For Catherine Jeanette Thompson Brock. John Franklin Skipper Jr., age 73 of Forest City, passed away Wednesday, June 30th at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. There will be a gathering of family and friends, 1 until 2 o'clock Sunday, July 4th at McMahon's Funeral Home. From 2 until 3 o'clock, family and friends will have an opportunity to share memories and celebrate John's life at McMahon's Funeral Home. McMahon serving the family of John Franklin Skipper, Jr. Faye Talent, age 62 of Spindale, passed away Monday, June 28th at Adrium Health, Pineville, North Carolina. A memorial service will be conducted at 6 o'clock Saturday, July 3rd at the Harrelson Funeral Chapel. Burial will follow at Avondale Cemetery. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to the service. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with those arrangements for Faye Talent. Betty Sue Davis Early, 86, formerly of Rutherford, passed away Tuesday, June 29th at Preston House in Charlotte. Funeral services will be held 11 a.m. Saturday, July 3rd at Keesler's Chapel, United Methodist Church. Burial will follow in the church cemetery. The family will receive friends 30 minutes prior to the service. Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Betty Sue Davis Early. Bob Honeycutt, age 80 of Forest City, passed away Monday, June 28th at the Spartanburg Medical Center. A funeral service will be conducted at 3 o'clock Saturday, July 3rd at Gooch Creek Baptist Church. Burial will follow at Rutherford County Memorial Cemetery. Firefighters' honors will be provided by the Fire Department Honor Guard. The family will receive friends from 6 until 8 p.m. this evening at the funeral home. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with those arrangements for Bob Honeycutt. William Raymond Carpenter, 62 of Ellenboro, died Tuesday, June 29th at his home. Funeral services will be held 3 o'clock today at First Baptist Church, Forest City. Burial will follow in Eternal Hills Memorial Park. The family will receive friends today from 1:30 until 2:45 in the fellowship hall of the church. Paget King Mortuary serving the family of William Raymond Carpenter of Ellenboro. Those are the death announcements we have in-house this morning. Complete information of these and others can be heard this morning at 11:30, 5, and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon report.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up from the NRIA.net studios in New York. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. Investors, Bill O'Reilly here. Are you sitting on capital or wanting to diversify? The NRIA Real Estate Development Fund provides returns right now. They capitalize on strategic markets. They offer payouts of 10% annualized returns plus bonuses up to 21%. They are a 15-year industry leader who have seen it all. Start your due diligence at nria.net or call 800-800-1414. That's easy. 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
On this Friday, it is clear to every intelligent person that the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, and the District Attorney of Manhattan, Cy Vance, believe Donald Trump violated tax laws. And so they are charging people in his organization, not him yet. Now, I have written a book on Mr. Trump called The United States of Trump. In that book, we examined his business career. Of course, I don't have subpoena power, but I do know Donald Trump is a very cautious man when it comes to financial transactions. That does not mean his organization is innocent or guilty in the James Vance prosecution. No one knows. What we do know is that Vance and James both want to get the 45th President of the United States. They despise him. That's a fact. So they want to have people within his organization flip and accuse Donald Trump of some financial irregularity. That's what this is all about. But it's disturbing. There should not be political prosecutions in the United States of America. That is an abuse of power. Now this. To mark 20 years since 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation is giving 200 mortgage-free homes to America's heroes and their families. CEO Frank Siller will walk over 500 miles through 6 days from August to September 11th. And those lost to 9/11 illnesses and in the war on terror will have their names read aloud for the first time. Please help this nation never forget. Donate $11 a month to T2T.org. T2T.org. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
With an impressive roster of explosive young superstars and the reigning MVP, the Atlanta Braves are showing the East what they're made of.
1-1 on the way. He connects, and it's a high fly ball to deep right field, way back towards the seats, and this ball is gone!
Tonight, it's the final weekend at Truist Park before we hit the All-Star break as the Braves face off with NL East rivals, the Miami Marlins. Braves Radio goes on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
100.9 FM. Walking down memory lane with classic oldies.
Pass it on. Here's a short quiz. Who won Best Actress last year? Who won the World Series 2 years ago? And finally, name your favorite teacher. Pass it on. Now I'm guessing that the last question was the easiest. Why is that? Because that person made a difference in your life. So go ahead and make a difference. Because making a difference is in you. Pass it on. From passiton.com.
As early as the 1840s, there were stories of cattle being driven from Texas to Missouri. However, cattle drives from Texas didn't start in earnest until around 1866. But there was one cattle drive that took place over 10 years earlier, taking cattle all the way to New York. And it wasn't done by a Texas cowboy, but an English immigrant who grew up in Illinois by the name of Thomas Pointing. Now, Pointing wasn't a novice around cattle. As a youth in England, he drove cattle to London, and later in Illinois, he drove cattle up to Wisconsin. Hearing about cheap cattle in Texas, he and partner Washington Malone went down there and bought 800 longhorn cattle. They hired a man to drive the supply wagon. An ox with a bell around his neck was tied to the back of the wagon. He was the lead steer, and the cattle followed him wherever he went. While traveling through Missouri, they restocked their provisions from local farmers. 4 months after their start, they got to Illinois. It was winter, so they took time to fatten the cattle on corn. In the spring, Pointing sold all but about 150 of the longhorns. Those 150 he wanted to take to New York. When they got to Muncie, Indiana, Pointing got the idea of transporting them the rest of the way by rail car. On July 1, 1854, the cattle arrived in New York. They were taken to the 100th Street Market and auctioned off. Although Pointing's cattle drive was a great feat in itself, his greatest achievement was to show that cattle could be brought 2,000 miles from Texas and sold at a profit. And with this, a new page in Old West history was opened. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
For a rootin' tootin' great meal, let Jesse James prepare your next lunch. He's got a menu chock full of fresh cooked burgers, fresh salads, hot dogs made any way you like, taco salads, specialty burgers, sandwiches, french fries, and onion rings. Enjoy refreshing milkshakes, Coke floats, or a cone of hand-dipped ice cream. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 4, closed Wednesdays and Sundays. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton. Call 447-4644. And don't forget the 99-cent hot dogs with mustard, chili, and onions on Mondays only.
This is the Information Hour on WCAB, the hour we call around the county to find out where things have been happening. And we stop first at the Sheriff's Department, and Sergeant Strapp is on the phone with me right now to give us that update. Good morning. How you doing today?
Doing well. Hope you are, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. What's on the report?
Past 24 hours, we have answered 138 calls for service, had 16 arrests, and have 189 inmates in the jail. For incident reports, Meredith Searcy of Rutherfordton reports a breaking and entering. Looks like a door was damaged, no property taken. Hubert Stroud of Rutherfordton reports a breaking and entering. Looks like some tools and a 12-gauge shotgun were taken. For the arrest reports, we have Olga Martinez of Mooresburg arrested, charged with obtaining property by false pretense, misdemeanor larceny, be a $10,000 unsecured bond. Todd Mann of Forest City, arrested and charged with 1 count of failure to appear on a release order and 3 counts of true bill of indictment, issued a $16,000 secured bond. William Wilson of Boston, arrested and charged with 3 counts of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, $1,500 unsecured bond. Chad Johnson of Rutherfordton, arrested and charged with possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, was given a $10,000 secured bond. And Jimmy Cole of Mooresburg, arrested and charged with larceny of a motor vehicle, was given a $10,000 secured bond. And that is all I have for you today.
Sergeant Strapp, thank you very much. You have a safe weekend.
Thank you.
And we'll find out from 911 Communication Center in just a moment how many calls they've had.
Good morning. The impact COVID-19 has had on our community has caused many changes. And some of these changes is our jobs. If your job situation is changing because of a layoff or restructuring, you may have to make several decisions. One of these decisions is what to do with your retirement plan. Let's make sure that your investment plan stays on track and doesn't derail your retirement ideas. Hi, I'm Andrew Tisdale from Rutherfordton, your Edward Jones financial advisor, and I would love to help you. Please give us a call at 828-287-9197. Our office is located in the Food Line Plaza in Rutherfordton. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, and member of the SIPC. Bye.
Now here's Amanda with the 911 Communication Center report. Good morning, Amanda. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What's on the report?
Well, in the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communication Center has processed 425 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 45 for the emergency medical services, 13 for rescue, 138 calls for the Sheriff's Office, 72 for Forest City, 2 for Lake Lure, 56 for Rutherford, and 66 for Spindale. Rutherford Fire Department had 2 motor vehicle accidents and also an industrial fire alarm, and SDO had a motor vehicle crash, and that is all.
Thanks so much. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Bye. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Come take advantage of the springtime sales event and get the automobile you've been wanting. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. And here's Ruby Taylor reporting from Danieltown, the SDO, Shiloh, Danieltown, Oakland community. Ruby, what's on your report today?
Well, fire department didn't have any calls. And on my birthday calendar, I've got Jordan Mays and Thomas Melton having birthdays today. Hope they have a nice day. Tomorrow, Dana Mays, John Kennedy, Doris Davis, and Avery Hall is having birthdays tomorrow, and hope they have a nice day. And Sunday, Cody Ezel, Michael Cole, Tyler Jackson, and Raleigh Sisk is having birthdays. Hope they have a nice day, too. And the signs are in the head today, going to the neck tomorrow and Sunday. And that's all I got, Jim.
Ruby, I hope you have a great weekend.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
21 after 7 o'clock. We've had rain this morning, a lot of rain, and we needed it. It's low, steady rain. That's the kind we like. And I believe it's raining a little bit out there right now, so please be careful. Watch out for the slick spots and around those curves. It could possibly be a little foggy around some areas as well, so please watch out for that. We want to keep you safe.
Enjoying music, hanging out with friends, church picnics, fishing, and playing in the creeks and streams of our beautiful mountains. This is summer in Western North Carolina. Getting vaccinated brings us one step closer to enjoying all of that and more. In fact, it's our best shot at getting back to normal. Let's give it a shot, WNC, and bring back summer together. Get vaccinated today. Visit myspot.nc.gov to find your best shot. That's myspot.nc.gov.
Gary Wilson, let's get those flags out and start them flying this weekend. It's going to be a beautiful weekend to do that, isn't it?
It's going to be cooler, and it's going to be sunshine, and we should have a good weekend for 4th of July, whether you're doing it on Saturday or Sunday. Or do it both days. Make up for last year that way.
There you go.
But, yeah, we've got a good crowd looks like coming in. A lot of people on the resort right now. There'll be a heavy check-in day, I'm sure, Friday and Saturday, so we're looking forward to having a pretty good crowd up here this year. Hope everybody enjoy the 4th and be careful and take care of themselves and be ready to go back to work next week, I guess. But the year is halfway gone. It's hard to believe, but it's.
Boy, I tell you,
we've done turned the corner.
It's amazing how fast it's going.
We're sitting on about 72 degrees this morning, and we've had a little light rain all night, and had about a quarter inch of rain, so glad to get that. It's still cloudy and overcast, but I'll get on out of here later today, I think. And we had 2 calls yesterday, one medical call, one fly out, and Bill's Creek, I think, had a call, and that's about all we got going on up here, Jim.
All right, Gary, you baking cookies for everybody that comes up there this weekend?
You come by and I'll get you a cookie. I'll get you somebody's cookie. It might not be mine, but.
Gary, have a great weekend. Enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.
You have a good one, too.
Bye-bye. Gary Wilson there at the Fairfield Mountains Fire District, 23 past the hour of 7 o'clock on this July the 2nd, working toward our way of Independence Weekend. Looking good for us.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Good morning, Bob Hodge. Hope you're doing well.
We're doing just fine up here on this Friday morning. Getting a little rain up here.
Yeah, it looks good. Feels good. I'm glad to get it.
Oh, yeah, it's cooled things off a lot, so that's good. But maybe have a little cooler weather next couple days or so that'll be good. That beats 90 degrees temperature. So.
Oh, yeah.
But, Jim, things going along good up here in our territory this morning. Hadn't had any fire calls overnight, so that's good. And so far this morning, everything's been quiet up here. And I want to wish Zach Mabrier and Ruth Henderson happy birthday today. And then birthdays for Sunday, Tracy Harden. Jim, I hope you have a real good 4th of July weekend.
Thanks, Bob. Hope you and Imogen have a good one, too. Celebrate a little bit and be safe.
Well, you too.
Thanks, Bob. See ya.
Bye-bye.
That's Bob Hodge reporting out of the Hudlow Fire District now. It's 25 past 7. Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. All right, now 26 minutes after the hour, 7 o'clock, let's head over toward the Cherry Mountain Fire District. Sue Price, good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
How's everything over in your neighborhood this morning? Peaceful?
Well, everything's looking good this morning. It's been getting a little bit of rain. Maybe it's going to rain most of the day, but that'll be good. We need it. It's been dry. Well, let's see. I haven't have any calls from the fire department. I don't have a single birthday or anniversary on either one of my calendars for today, so not anybody celebrating that I know, but we hope anybody that's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day. And don't have any announcements, hadn't had anything come in. I'm sure everybody's just prepared for the 4th of July and getting ready for cookouts and all that good stuff. So looks like we're going to have a beautiful weekend for it.
Yes.
And that'll be good. And I hope you and Faye will have a good weekend and wish you a happy 4th.
Thank you. You too. You and Richard have a good one and family, and enjoy it all you can.
All right.
Thanks, Sue.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's Cherry Mountain. Nice and quiet this morning. No calls over there. 27 past 7. It's time to think about heat, the heat conditioned. How's your air conditioner? How is it? Rumbling a little bit with you? Well, listen up. Imagine being surrounded by comfort. At Immaculate Heating and Air Conditioning, they offer ultimate home comfort by Coleman. They will install a Coleman high-efficiency heating and cooling system and handle any service and maintenance, all for one low monthly payment with zero out-of-pocket costs for 10 years. That's right, 10 years with no service or repair fees, no maintenance fees, no unexpected cost at all. Ultimate home comfort. It's more comfort all around. Contact Nathan Blackburn at 828-755-5788. That's 755-5788, or visit ImmaculateHeatingandAir.com. Well, Virginia Fox, Congresswoman Virginia Fox, will be calling in with us this morning a little after 8 o'clock to give us an update on the fight there in Washington, what's being done, what she's doing to help us here in this district and across her district. So tune in for Virginia Fox about 8:05 this morning. Now we're heading up toward the Shingle Hollow Fire District. And Tina, good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
You doing well today?
I am doing great. It's a good day to be a duck.
Quack, quack.
It's just been drizzling in Shingle Hollow off and on. 71 degrees. No birthdays, no anniversaries today. We're just going to celebrate independence this weekend.
It's a good thing.
Yes. America's birthday.
So everything else pretty quiet then, huh?
all quiet. Fire departments didn't have any calls that I'm aware of. So it's just all quiet, getting ready for the big booms this weekend.
All right, you got your firecrackers lined up?
Yeah.
Do you?
I do.
Good. I'll be listening.
You'll hear some. You'll hear them.
No
Might
question.
not be mine, but it'll be somebody.
There's always somebody around, sure enough. All right, Tina, go ahead.
Everybody put their pets up. Don't let those dogs run around because they don't like fireworks. That's for sure.
They do get scared, sure enough.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a lot of stray dogs after July 4th over with.
A lot of lost dogs. People, I've seen a lot of people say they've lost their dog after 4th of July.
Yep.
So, well, everybody stay safe. Have a great Friday. And I'll talk to Todd tomorrow.
See you, Todd. See you, Tina.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Be Tina talking with Todd tomorrow morning here on the Colorado Report for a Saturday morning. It's 7:30. Braves had a good night last night over the Mets, 4-3. The Owls had a good night over Spartanburgers, 14-8. And tonight we have the Braves again going up against the Marlins, and that will join that pregame following News 13 at 6. And the 7:10 first pitch for the Braves and the Marlins. They have a home stretch. They have a stretch there with Marlins tonight and Saturday and Sunday, looks like. So we'll keep them going. Hopefully they can win a few more games. Let's cheer them on.
Jim, have you seen Henson Building Materials' newly remodeled showroom? It's gorgeous.
You mean where they have a full line of hardware and building materials for homeowners and home builders?
I mean where Jamie, Terry, and Tony, their friendly staff, treat me like family. Oh, they're so nice.
Hey, are they taking COVID precautions and have curbside service?
Of course. They're so thoughtful.
I do need some materials, but I don't think they'll fit in our car.
Oh, silly. They have professional delivery so we can get whatever I want.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street in Forest City.
Building starts here.
Another season has come and gone, and you're still looking at that same sad-looking sofa or recliner. Well, now's the time to change the inside of your home to look as pretty as the spring and summer colors outside. And the perfect place to start is the Recliner Center. Right now at the Recliner Center, everything is 20% off. That's 20% off sofas, recliners, sofa recliners. If someone you love is having trouble standing, the Recliner Center has all lift chairs on sale for 10% off. All lift chairs, 10% off. Now, some of these chairs can take you from a standing position, then safely back down to a sitting position with no effort on your part whatsoever. Angela is cleaning out merchandise to make room for more. So now's your chance to redecorate your home and take advantage of the great savings at the Recliner Center. All lift chairs, 10% off. Everything else is 20% off. Angela is seeing folks by appointment only, so call 828-395-3562. Call her today. The Recliner Center. They're on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
All right, now it's 7:32. It's a Friday morning, and we're sweeping around the counter really fast this morning. But let's go on up to Union Mills and see if they've had any activity over there and see what Brenda Kelly's got to tell us on the Kelly Report from Union Mills. Good morning, Brenda Kelly.
Good morning, Jim Bishop. How are you on this fabulous rainy Friday morning?
I'm glad we're getting some rain. I'm glad it's coming like it's coming. It's soft and steady, slow
That's
pace,
right.
no
We need
downpours.
That's right. Be good on them gardens.
It will. They need it.
Make the cucumber, squash, and tomatoes grow.
I'm ready for it.
I hear you. But we hope everybody's having a good morning. I've got 68 degrees on the front porch. I don't have any birthdays today. And then ways of announcements, Polk County Line will be at the Union Mills Learning Center on July the 9th. They'll have a meal at 6 p.m. Cost of the meal is $5. And the music starts at 7. There's no cost for the music, but they do have a tip jar available for the band. Then we got a breakfast buffet at the Gilkey School Community Center. Starts at 7 a.m. and goes to 10 a.m. This will be Saturday, July the 10th. Adults is $7. Kids 6 to 12, $3. Kids 5 and under is free. And it's all you can eat, and they've got all kind of good food, and money goes to help rebuild the old school. And so far, that's all the announcements I have. So, have you got your fireworks ready?
Well, let me think about that a minute. You know, I have a Charlotte Hay fireworks, and since my kids grew up, we used to do it when they were younger. But generally, Faye doesn't get excited about me shooting off fireworks, so I just don't do it.
I don't like them. They're loud, but they are pretty.
I do love to watch them.
Yeah. I love to watch them too. Somebody sent over a whole sheet cake, birthday cake, over to my house yesterday evening. That thing's sitting here on the table, and I don't want to eat it, but it's very tempting.
What kind is it?
It's a vanilla, I think, and it's decorated like the 4th of July. It's got all kind of pretty red, white, and blue, and that in it.
Oh yeah.
And it tasted good. I ate just a little corner last night, but I'm trying to lose weight, and then the devil puts this cake, big old cake, right here in front of me.
Well, a little bite here, a little bite there won't bother.
Yeah, it does. and then I'm going to bake a birthday cake tomorrow. I'm going to bake it today and ice it, and for little David, so little man or whatever. Everybody says, "Why you call him little?" I said, "Because that's just what he is. He's Big David and Little David. So that's what we call him." So
well,
it's just cake.
Cakes ought to be made real fixed up for the birthday of our nation.
That's right. Yeah. Celebrate. Everybody needs to celebrate, and I'm with Gary Wilson to celebrate 2 times because we didn't get to do it last year.
Yes, I like that idea too. I like to double up this year.
That's exactly right. Have hot dogs and hamburgers tomorrow, then have hamburgers and hot dogs Sunday.
There you go. Double up on the cake.
Double up on the cake and throw in a run of homemade ice cream.
Now you're talking.
and then get your watermelon and slice it. So I've got all that stuff ready to do.
Well, I know it'll be a good day for you. The weather's going to be perfect for it.
Oh, yes. But I'm so thankful for this rain that we're getting. And they talk like it might be out by about dinner time, don't they?
That's right. Yeah, this afternoon tonight's supposed to be clear.
Well, good. That's good. This is the kind of rain that's good. I know it started raining in the night sometime or early morning, and then it'll be, like you say, be out here by about dinner time. Then we'll have this afternoon, and all the weekend will be pretty.
Yeah. I was going to ask you.
Ain't God good?
Oh, God's good all the time.
That's right.
I was going to ask if you knew about what time it started, because when I went to bed, I don't think it was raining, but.
No, it wasn't, but I didn't look at the clock. I don't know, but I know Big Dog, when it rains, he barks a lot, and he was barking way early this morning. I got up, I don't know, 5, somewhere in there, and it was raining.
Yeah.
So I don't know what time it started, but I'm thankful for it. That means I won't have to water my flowers today.
There you go. So, there's a blessing in everything.
That's right. But you better go to Ellenburg and see if what the plans are for Ellenburg this weekend.
I'll do it, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, catch you later.
All right, bye, Brenda. Brenda Kelly reporting out of Union Mills, 7:37 now on this Friday before July 4th. Let's see what's happening here with Carolina West.
It's our 30th anniversary, but you get the gifts. That's right, Carolina West Wireless is celebrating our anniversary and celebrating you in a big way with incredible savings, like $350 off a new iPhone 12 or a $150 credit when you bring in your own device. And as our special gift to you, get an additional $30 off any other device promo in our store. Stop by today and let's celebrate our 30th anniversary together. Carolina West Wireless, celebrating 30, celebrating you. Certain restrictions apply. See store for details or visit carolinawest.com/terms and conditions.
Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply is a variety store. Here's why I say that. Cedar shavings, 5.0 cubic feet, $7.99 per bag. They have Pontiac red potatoes, candy baked potatoes, $18 for 50 pound. River Run dog food, specially priced. Plenty of horse quality hay. Refill propane, $10.99 for a 20-pound tank. Wrangler Sweet Feed, $8.69 for the 50-pound bag. Cardinal Tissue and paper towels, 6-pack, $4.49. Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply is the largest farm supply store, and you should come and see how much you can save. 188 Whiteside Road, Rutherford. Right across the street here from WCAB. If you go shopping over there and you can't stop to see us, just toot as you pull out of the driveway. We'll know you're there. Toot at us. A toot, toot, toot. That means WCAB. It'd be 4 toot. Toot, 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 toot. WCAB. And toot as you come out of there or go into it, either one. Now we're over into Ellenboro now, and we're going to toot our horn as we pull in over there and talk with Luther Gilligan. Good morning, Luther Gilligan.
Good morning, you two. Good morning down here. Just sitting here watching it rain.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is. It looks good. Not a whole lot, but I think I got about 4/10 of an inch. But hey, that's better than what I got last time.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we just got the bottom of the rain gauge wet.
Yeah, yep, that's about right.
But it's a good morning down here, though. Nothing going on. See, the fire department had one call earlier this morning. They had one medical call. Other than that, they're quiet this morning. Just nothing going on. So you have a good day up there. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.
You enjoy your weekend, too, and be careful, be safe, and celebrate our independence.
All right, take care.
See you now. That's Mr. Gilligan there, Luther Gilligan in Ellenboro with our report from the fire district over there in the town. And that concludes the call around, but we do have time for birthdays and anniversaries for the second day of July, July 2nd. Call 287-3356, 287-3356. And in just a few moments, I'm hoping to have a special rendition for this Independence Day weekend. The Survivor, I don't know if you heard that a lot, but Mort Krim. If I can get that dubbed off in time, we'll have that in just a few moments. But Keys to Confident Living also coming up, birthdays and anniversaries. And we'll see what happens after that. Virginia Fox, Congresswoman Virginia Fox, my guest a little after 8 o'clock this morning to talk about what's happening up there. And Word of Faith Fellowship at 8:30. We got a lot to pack in these next few minutes, so let's do it.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
That's really something to crow about. It's the Daylight Donuts from Granny B's in Spindale. Get yours today. While they're fresh, they're good, they're delicious. It's Daylight Donuts. It's something to crow about. Birthday. Well, happy birthday wishes going out to Lindsay Bahealer. She's 31, runs the Bostic She lives in Bostic Cafeteria Manager over at East High School. Lindsay Bahealer. Scott and Tonda Lane, 34. That's their anniversary, 34th anniversary. They're from Boston. And Joyce Cook over in Cleveland County celebrating. And you said Lindsay is the daughter of Scott and Tonda. How about going on our anniversary? So congratulations, big day for them in that household. So we congratulate you, Lindsay Bahealer, Scott and Tonda Lane, and Joyce Cook. Celebration on this Friday, July 2nd. Now stand by. We have some special things coming up here in just a few moments. In addition to Keys to Confident Living, Congresswoman Virginia Fox, my guest, about 8:05, 8:10 this morning. We'll listen to her and see what she has to say about what's happening up there, what she's been able to accomplish. All that, stand by right here. We're more than just a jukebox. We're a house store full of energy and information for you, our friends.
If you were suffering from great financial need, would God most likely send an angel or a human being to help you? Rabbi Lionel Blue, in his book Day Trips to Eternity, tells of his grandmother taking him on weekly expeditions. Blue writes, "On Thursday nights, she woke me up in the middle of the night and we went around the block putting little packets through letterboxes. They were little parcels of money and food to help poor families celebrate the coming Sabbath. They were given at night so that the giver and receiver would never meet, and neither would feel obligation or shame. Occasionally, we met other grandmothers wrapped in shawls and shadows, waddling from house to house. I was surprised when I first saw a picture of angels after I became an evacuee. Who could believe in their too sweet smiles, their peroxide blonde hair, and the fairy wings? My angels were solid from the neck down. They were Semitic, rheumatic, and wasteless. God has used angels on many occasions to care for the impoverished, but he would just as soon people play that role where possible. Jesus reminded us that when we care for the needy in his name, it is just like we were doing it to him. Why not consider an angel walk around your community and provide love and care to others? This is Bill Hostler with today's Key to Confident Living. Scripts for these programs are available in book form by calling toll-free 1-888-333-KEYS.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Travel numbers have been growing for the last few months, but today will be one for the record books. ABC's Jim Ryan says Americans are declaring their independence from COVID-19.
Yes, facial coverings are still required inside the airport, but these lines in Atlanta and at major airports across the country are long and getting longer. By the end of the weekend, 4 million people will have flown somewhere. On the highways, says Terry Tenkate of AAA,
the floodgates are open.
As 43 million Americans drive to their 4th of July destinations. And looking ahead,
we're going to be at pre-pandemic levels by the end of the year.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Former President Trump is slamming New York prosecutors after his company and finance chief were charged with running a 15-year tax scheme. They're facing more than a dozen counts, including millions of dollars worth of under-the-table perks. Adam Kaufman, a former top deputy in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office.
This is a common business practice, but the common business practice is to step up and declare what's being paid and pay the taxes on it. And that's how businesses should operate.
Former President Trump called the criminal charges against his firm and Weisselberg a disgrace and shameful. Search and rescue teams back at work at the site of the collapsed condo building in Surfside, Florida, after a visit from President Biden and the First Lady. ABC's Faith Abube is in Surfside.
President Biden thanking the crews for their sacrifice.
These folks are always showing up, no matter what. They're risking their lives.
The president and first lady also spending 3 hours behind closed doors with grieving families and survivors of the collapse before making their way to a makeshift memorial honoring the victims.
18 people are dead, 145 still missing. America's longest war drawing to a conclusion. After nearly 20 years, the U.S. military has left Bagram airfield and handed control over to Afghanistan as part of the troop drawdown. You're listening to ABC News.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should. People often get their first impression of you or your business online. Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-401-6681. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681. 800-401-6681. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
The record-breaking heat wave across the Pacific Northwest that killed dozens of people has eased off, but those high temperatures are expected to return. ABC's Rob Marciano is in Pikes Peak, Colorado.
The heat that's been in the Northwest is actually going to come back. So we've seen some relief the past few days, but the 3 to 4 day forecast brings Portland back into the lower 90s, which is still a good 15 degrees above average, and Billings and Boise will stay in triple-digit territory.
The World Health Organization warning of a new wave of COVID infections in Africa.
WHO reporting that COVID cases have increased in Africa for 6 weeks running, rising by 25% week after week, and deaths increasing by 15% across 38 countries in the same period. Much of the spread is fueled by the Delta variant, which has been reported in 16 countries. The WHO describing that variant that originated in India as the most contagious variant yet, an estimated 30 to 60% more transmissible than other variants. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, at the Foreign Desk.
If you work for Amazon, your mode of transportation could mean a few extra dollars. The company's offering up to $350 a month to its office workers if they bike to work. The goal is finding a greener way to commute. The company already provides free transit passes to all employees. This is ABC News.
If the pandemic's taught us anything, it's that the easiest way for germs to get into your body is the nose. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, and germs that cause congestion, colds, and flu, so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. Experience Navage at zero risk. Go to Navage.com, buy Navage, and use it for a month. If you're not delighted, return it for a full refund. There's nothing to lose and a lifetime of better breathing to gain. Navage, Navage.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
Hello and happy Friday. We'll see scattered to widespread showers and thunderstorms for today. Some strong to severe thunderstorms also possible towards the coast this afternoon. We'll see highs today in the upper 70s and low 80s. Those showers will taper off overnight tonight. Will be drier for tomorrow. Expect a mostly sunny to partly cloudy sky with highs Saturday in the low 80s. Looking just as lovely for the 4th of July Sunday. Highs though in the mid to upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Thanks very much, Zach. Cloudy skies here and light misty rain's been falling this morning. A little drizzle and 71 degrees. That drizzle will be getting out of here by noon probably, and the rest of the weekend is looking mighty fine for Independence Day holiday weekend, and we so hope you can get out and enjoy it. Congresswoman Virginia Fox is holding on for me right here in just a moment, but let me mention this to you folks. The Rutherford County Sheriff's Office is requesting the public's assistance in locating a missing runaway teenager, Savannah Dawn Hobbs. Savannah Hobbs was last seen on Bostic Sunshine Highway on June 26. Hobbs is a 16-year-old white female with long blonde hair and brown eyes. She is 5'2", weighs about 80 pounds. She was last seen wearing a white T-shirt with black writing on the sleeves and some blue jeans. If you know anything about this person, please contact the Sheriff's Department. Again, that's Savannah Hobbs, 16-year-old white female with long blonde hair, brown eyes. She's 5'2", and weighs about 80 pounds. And contact the Sheriff's Department if you have know anything about that whatsoever. Congresswoman Virginia Fox coming right up.
You say hello every time you pick up your phone, but what else do you say hello to? With Bark Mobile, you can say hello to summer, to adventure, to doing what you love, because you're also saying hello to freedom, flexibility, and great deals. Like getting a free Moto G stylus when you switch for a limited time, $100 savings when you bring the device you already love, or 2 lines unlimited data for just $35 a month per line with AutoPay. Say hello to something new. It's just a phone call away with Bark Mobile. Bark Mobile, mobile made easy. Certain restrictions apply. See store for details. Visit mybarkmobile.com/terms and conditions.
Virginia Fox, it's always an honor to have you visit with us once a month and give us a beat on what's happening up in Washington. We welcome you back to WCAB.
Oh, thank you so much, Jim. I really appreciate it. Glad to be with you. And I heard you say we're looking forward to a very wonderful Independence Day. Thank you for saying that. You know, it's really important that we talk about July 4th as Independence Day. Many people, we're great in this country for doing everything with shorthand. You know, we abbreviate everything, people's names, the places we live and all that. But I think it's so important that we say we are celebrating Independence Day. It signifies to everybody that we're a free country. We fought hard. Lives were lost to gain our independence from Great Britain so that we could be free people. And that's what we ought to celebrate. Now, it's wonderful. People get together for barbecues and parties and go out on the lake and do all kinds of fun things. But everybody should give a few minutes to thank the Lord and to thank all those people who've given their lives over the years to keep us free and to celebrate the fact we're the greatest country in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Well said. Well said. There are any number of things I'd like to talk with you about, but time is limited. I want to jump right into sort of edges onto what you were saying about people changing things. This critical race theory that's out there so boldly right now, and they're trying to cram that down the throats of our kids and in the brains of the kid. What's your thoughts on that critical race theory and any other thing that we could do as citizens?
Well, the left wants to change totally the history of our country. I mean, they want to say that the country began in 1619 and that everything in our country is based on slavery. That is just not true. And the Department of Education has a proposed rule, and it's trying to entice school systems with money to set up projects that peddle critical race theory. It's a fundamentally racist view of America. And they're going to prioritize school systems using this program to push this. It is absolutely, number one, it's against the rules there's a prohibition against the federal government getting involved in local school curriculum, and that is a good thing. School curriculums need to be decided at the local level. People in Rutherford County know what's best for their schools, not the people in Washington, D.C. And the people in Rutherford County elect school boards. And what they want to do is take away our pride in our country. That's why I'm always talking about the fact that we live in the greatest country in the world. It's the only country in the world that people are dying to get into. I mean, what's going on at the border is disgusting. We ought to have a secure border. People should not be able to just walk in here from 173 different countries and we not know who they are or what their plan is for being in this country. But we need to celebrate who we are and who we have been. Have we made mistakes? Absolutely. Was slavery a mistake? Absolutely it was. But you don't trade one mistake for another mistake. That's not what makes us a great country. We learn from our mistakes. And we need to say, okay, you don't change one form of racism for another form of racism. And that's what the left wants to do. They want to indoctrinate our students with critical race theory, and they want to say, well, it's okay for one group of people now to discriminate against another group of people because you people discriminated against us. Well, that's not going to solve anything. Our Declaration of Independence said that we are endowed by our Creator with certain rights, and that all people are created equal. And we are. Now, again, that doesn't mean we have equal outcomes. That's the other corrosive part of this theory. And you hear the president and the people who work for him constantly talk about the word equity. Jim, they want us all to have the same outcomes. Well, we know that is not right. We know that isn't right either because people have different talents, different skills, different abilities, and we can't have equal outcomes. But we have the right in this country to work as hard as we want to and use the gifts God gave us to get to the height of what we can do. Now, I'd never be a concert pianist. If I demanded to be a concert pianist, I just don't have those skills. I can't be a famous artist. I don't have those skills. God gave me certain skills. I use them. But it's just not right what they're asking for. And mostly what they want to do is if you have more money than somebody else, they want you to take your money away. The government is going to take your money away and give it to somebody else just because you have more. Not because those people earned it, but because you have it.
You mentioned that we'd made mistakes over the years, and we're going to make more mistakes as we move forward. But we make mistakes, and then we learn from those mistakes and move forward.
That's exactly right.
We don't cut each other down.
That's exactly right. Every group of immigrants that's come to this country has been discriminated against. On my mother's side of the family, they've been here since the 1700s. I had ancestors that fought in the Revolutionary War. My father's family came in the 1900s. From Italy, poor people who came here, terribly discriminated against, mistreated. But they overcame it. They overcame it by working hard and getting good educations. And now you look around and you see people of Italian descent doing very well, and you see people of every race doing very well.
Absolutely.
So it isn't as though anybody gets held down permanently. Nobody gets held down permanently if you want to try hard.
And the opportunities are certainly here in America. Let me ask you about something else. The D.C. bureaucrats just suffered a big loss up there. Explain that to our audience.
Yes, they did. H.R. 1. Again, this is all about the federal government taking control. And I think your listeners can look up there and see the incompetence, absolute incompetence in Washington, D.C. What they wanted to do was take away voter ID laws in the state that the states have passed. I mean, North Carolina, we want voter ID. 82% of the people in this country want us to have voter ID laws. We want you to be able to prove who you are when you go to the voting booth. But they would have taken that away. They would have allowed people to vote wherever they want to, basically, without an ID. They would have established a commission they called it to protect democratic institutions. You know, Jim, they have a real way of taking in language that sounds great, but it's not what it sounds like. And what they would do would have commissions. They'd violate the Constitution. They don't care a whit about the Constitution. The Constitution says legislatures draw the congressional and legislative districts. And that's the way it's been since the beginning of the country. Now, when the Democrats were all in the majority and had all the control, that was fine. You know those crazy maps we used to have in North Carolina?
Oh, yes.
Well, we get a Republican legislature, and suddenly they don't like their legislature drawing the maps, and they want a commission that would be partisan. It'd be very partisan. It'd be partisan on the Democrat side. They would have pandemic-style elections, meaning all mail-in voting, and that can be a disaster too. And it would pay for campaigns. It would give up to $10 million to federal candidates from you. It would take your money and pay for elections. The American people don't want to do that. Only a small percentage of people give money to candidates, but what they wanted to do was take money from every American, put us more in debt, and pay for those elections, pay for campaigns out of taxpayer dollar. It just absolutely no. And I voted no when it was in the House. All Republicans voted no. Then it went to the Senate, and thankfully, I'm sorry it's a tie in the Senate. I wish the Republicans were in the majority, but at least by having a tie, they were able to stop this.
You know, every day I'm amazed. I shouldn't be. I've seen it so much, but I'm amazed at the things that comes out of Nancy Pelosi's mouth and AOC's mouth that becomes national news as though it's the Bible. It disgusts me that they say things that, excuse me, but that's really dumb.
They are. Oh, no, they are. They certainly are. But you're right. Now, my staff always tells me I can't quote certain people, but there was a German guy who said, if you tell a lie once, people will consider it a lie. But if you keep telling it over and over again, it'll soon become the truth. Yeah. And that's their way of doing it. I mean, I've been on the floor many times when they've stood up and just told out and out lies. Nancy Pelosi does it almost every day. And I refute them. I stand up there and I say, no, that's not the way it is. Here are the facts. But their idea is we'll just keep telling these lies, and as long as we tell them and nobody challenges us, then the people will believe us. And unfortunately, Jim, that happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, it really does. One of these days, I'm going to edge out enough time for you and I to spend about an hour talking, because I always enjoy it. You always give such insight into what's happening up there. But I've got a tight schedule. I've got to run. I know you're getting ready probably to cook hot dogs and hamburgers.
I hope. Yeah. Well, I hope I get you up to Washington sometime, and we could do a show from up there. I'd like to take you around with me and let you spend a couple of days with me and see what it's really like up there and get up close and personal. So look for a time that you could do that, maybe in September. It'll be wild and woolly in September up there, because we have not passed a single appropriations bill because the Democrats can't get together. But everybody, celebrate your freedom. When you are getting a car of your choice, when you go where you want to go, think about the fact that people died for that to happen. and that you're in the greatest country in the world, because there are very few places where we have that enjoy the same freedom. In fact, nobody enjoys the same freedom that we have.
Good. Congresswoman Virginia Fox, thank you so much, and you have a safe holiday weekend, and I look forward to seeing you. We'll make that happen, and we'll make that trip up.
All right,
happen.
happy Independence Day, everybody.
So long. Goodbye.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Always happy to have Virginia Fox on the radio with us. Plain-spoken, real fighter for us. 20 minutes after 8 o'clock.
Smith's Drugs of Forest City will once again sponsor the Meet Me at the Fountain 5K race on July the 24th. And this year's race will be a live event, pending no changes in the current downward trend of the new COVID cases. Go to www.facebook.com/meetmeatthefountain5K for more information and to get sponsorship forms. All forms must be returned by July the 5th. Beneficiaries this year are the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Yoke Fellow, and the Chase Corner Ministries. And now the soda fountain is now fully open, and Smith's Drugs is no longer offering curbside for the fountain. However, the back door is still locked as Smith's Drugs continues curbside service for the pharmacy only. The COVID-19 vaccination is available Monday through Friday only, and walk-ins are welcome. Again, the soda fountain now open at Smith's Drugs. And don't forget the upcoming 5K race. So get your sponsorship forms at Smith's Drugs in Forest City.
Do you need some extra money in your pocket? Try Insurance Service Associates, your local independent agent. We can shop your auto and home insurance with several companies to get you better coverage and the best rate. Insurance Service Associates at 127 East Trade Street in Forest City for auto, home, or commercial insurance. More choices, better coverage, best rate. That's Insurance Service Associates, 245-5301.
Saving money is easy when you shop at Jay's Discount Grocery. From snack foods to vegetables, fresh fruits to fresh cut meats, paper products, cleaning supplies, dog food, and so much more. You know, you just never know what you'll find at Jay's. So shop and save today. They're located at 671 Oak Street in Forest City, right beside the Hospice Resale Store. You know, when you shop at Jay's, you always walk out with money left over in your pocket.
Here's Sergeant Straub now from the Sheriff's Department with our report we aired earlier and recorded it for broadcast at this time. Sergeant Straub?
Past 24 hours, we have answered 138 calls for service, had 16 arrests, and have 189 inmates in the jail. For incident reports, Meredith Searcy of Rutherford reports a breaking and entering. Looks like the door was damaged, no property taken. Hubert Stroud of Rutherford reports a breaking and entering. Looks like some tools and a 12-gauge shotgun were taken. For the arrest reports, we have Olga Martinez of Mooresboro arrested, charged with obtaining property by false pretense, misdemeanor larceny, be a $10,000 unsecured bond. Todd Mann of Forest City arrested and charged with 1 count of failure to appear on a release order and 3 counts of true bill of indictment, issued a $16,000 secured bond. William Wilson of Boston arrested and charged with 3 counts of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, $1,500 unsecured bond. Chad Johnson of Rutherford arrested and charged with possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, was given a $10,000 secured bond. And Jimmy Cole of Mooresboro arrested and charged with larceny of a motor vehicle, was given a $10,000 secured bond. And that is all I have for you today.
My friends, have a safe weekend. Enjoy your independence on this Independence Weekend. Thanks for being here, and God bless America.
NCN Sports. Good morning. I'm Tony Brixby. In the NBA playoffs, the Milwaukee Bucks now taking control of the Eastern Conference Finals following their big win last night. Correspondent Chuck Freeman has more.
Bucks came out with a fast start, were never seriously threatened, in a 123-112 win over the Hawks. Playing without two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, 4 players had over 20 points, led by an unexpected playoff career-high 33 from center Brook Lopez. The Bucks jumped out to a 30-10 lead. Lopez says the Bucks knew they had to come out strong.
The right focus, the right energy from the get-go, because those are obviously that was obviously a big advantage in those 2 games in Atlanta.
For a second straight game, the Hawks also played without their best player, Trae Young. Bogdan Bogdanovic had 28 to lead the Hawks. The Bucks are 1 win away from their first finals appearance since 1974. Chuck Freeman, Milwaukee.
In Major League Baseball last night, the Braves getting a big walk-off win over the Mets, as we hear from Dave Ferry.
The Braves pulled out a 4-3 win over the Mets on Freddie Freeman's game-winning RBI single off Seth Lugo in the bottom of the 9th. Freeman had struck out 4 times before his walk-off hit. The run was set up by a throwing error by Lugo. The Braves are the first team to score 3 runs in a game off Jacob deGrom this season. deGrom also struck out 14 over 7 innings.
Chicago White Sox posting a big win over the Minnesota Twins last night, 8-5. Former NC State star Carlos Rodon on the mound for the White Sox said it was important to complete the 3-game sweep.
This was a big series, within the division. And boys came out swinging today, and they've done it all week long. So since we've been at home.
Also last night, the Red Sox pounding the Can 15-1. Texas Rangers over the Oakland A's 8-3, and the Astros beat the Indians 7-2. You're listening to NCN Sports.
This is a big deal. Now, at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. You can have coverage as soon as August 1st if you sign up now at healthcare.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As North Carolina continues to reopen, retailers are more excited than ever for the summer shopping season, and they look forward to seeing you in their stores. While there are no longer any mask or social distancing requirements, each retailer will make their own decision about how to maintain the safety of their customers and employees. So please continue to be kind to the retail employees who have been on the front lines for the last 14 months, and remember to shop NC. The NC Retail Merchants Association proudly represents North Carolina's dedicated retailers and encourages you to shop NC. Learn more at ncrma.org.
The NFL has levied a huge fine against the Washington football team. Steve Futterman brings us up to date.
Last year, a scathing report detailed a toxic workplace environment at the Washington football team. Such things as harassment of cheerleaders, including secretly made videos. It led to a number of people being let go or resigning. Now the NFL is taking action. The team is being fined $10 million. In a statement, team owner Dan Snyder says he agrees with the league's action. He says he feels great remorse for those who had difficult or traumatic experiences. The money will be donated to charity. Steve Futterman, CBS News.
South Carolina will allow college athletes at NCAA schools to profit immediately from their names, images, and likenesses instead of waiting until 2022. Tony Rixby, NCN Sports.
Hello and happy Friday. We'll see scattered to widespread showers and thunderstorms for today. Some strong to severe thunderstorms also possible towards the coast this afternoon. We'll see highs today in the upper 70s and low 80s. Those showers will taper off overnight. Tonight will be drier for tomorrow. Expect a mostly sunny to partly cloudy sky with highs Saturday in the low 80s. Looking just as lovely for the 4th of July Sunday. Highs, though, in the mid to upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Should be rain off and on for the next couple of hours. We had a heavy shower rain about 30 minutes ago. Now it's just light showers. And temperature dropped 69. We started out at 71, now 69, but warming back up to 81 before the day's over with. So it's going to be, after today, a pretty great weekend for us to do our thing outdoors. Now, listen, if you missed the interview with Congresswoman Virginia Foxx, you can go back to our website. In about an hour, it should be up there. Go to listen live from our website, www.wcab59.com, and click on Listen Live, and you can listen to the whole show, or you can scroll it over there to the part where the interview is and listen to Virginia Foxx again. Right now, it's time for the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program, and with the program this morning is Mark Morris.
Good morning and welcome to the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. I'm Mark and I'm so glad you're listening today. Today I want to share with you a message that has been on my heart for quite some time, and that is the seriousness of what happens when we actually doubt God. The Bible talks about how we are going to enter the kingdom of heaven, we're going to be saved, we're going to live with Jesus for eternity through only one way. And that is through believing in Jesus Christ and surrendering our life to Him. But we have to believe in Him. And so many times we hear that word believe and we think we know what it means, but the Bible actually tells us what believe really means. And it's actually an entire lifestyle. It is something that controls our life, it controls our thoughts, it controls our attitudes. It dictates to us how we live our every moment when we truly believe in Jesus Christ. And I want to share with you today the seriousness of if we go through our day and we have fear, we have timidness, we doubt, we worry. All of these things are against believing in God. And the Bible says that those who are unbelieving will die and perish in hell. And even if you are someone who has professed to know Jesus Christ, maybe you attend church on a regular basis, that is not enough for you to enter the kingdom of God. That's not enough for you to be saved and be with Jesus for eternity. The Bible warns us that we need to believe God. Every single day of our life, we have to believe in Him. We have to trust Him with our whole heart. We have to rely on Him with our whole heart. And the Bible warns us that if we don't do that, no matter who we are, we will perish and burn in hell. It's a very serious message. And I want to start with Hebrews 3, because Hebrews 3 lays it out very, very clearly. And what it's talking about is the children of Israel and how they perished in the wilderness. And God warns us that we're no different. And this is a book that is being written to Christians. Okay, this is the book of Hebrews is being written to actual Jewish Christians. They were people who were going to church. They were people who professed to know Jesus. And the warning is to them that if they do what the Israelites did, they will fall away and they will not enter into heaven. There is a doctrine out there that is a false doctrine that says that once you are saved, you are always saved. You can just somehow just profess to know Jesus and then just do whatever, even if you fall away, even if you turn your back, even if you commit all these sins, all these things, then you're still going to go to heaven. And that is not true. That is not what God's Word says. God's Word actually says that you can fall away. You can be somebody who professes to be a Christian, and you can actually fall away from the faith. And the book of Hebrews is replete with that. One of the verses that discusses that is in Hebrews 3. And it actually says this. It starts in verse 6, and it says, "But Christ was faithful over his own Father's house as a son, and it is we who are now members of this house, if we hold fast and firm to the end, our joyful confidence and hope." So there's a writing to Christians that says we are now members of this house of God, that Jesus is faithful over his Father's house. And then it goes on and it says that we will be saved if we continue to hold fast. If we continue to hold fast to the hope. And as we're going to go on, we're going to see that what happens when we do not hold fast is that we will not be saved. Jesus said in the Gospels that those who endure to the end will be saved. You may be someone who has professed and even call yourself a born-again Christian. John chapter 3 talks about that you cannot enter the kingdom of God unless you are born again, born of his Spirit, the Holy Spirit coming inside of you. But Jesus went on and he said that those who endure to the end will be saved. So just being born again is not enough. You have to continue to believe and trust in him with all your heart and surrender your life to him. And what happened in Hebrews 3 is there's an account about the Israelites and how God saved them. They were called of God. God delivered them from Egypt. He parted the Red Sea. He brings them into the wilderness. And it is really a time of testing and proving in their life. They came out of Egypt, but God knew that Egypt was still in their hearts. They had things in their hearts, the things of the world that had gone into their hearts, and they no longer had that reverence for God that God called them to have. So God was bringing them through a series of tests in the wilderness. And we know that they did not pass the tests. They failed. They did not believe God as they were going through the wilderness, and God destroyed them. They perished, and they never entered into the promised land, which was the land of Israel. And this is referring to that, and it says in verse 8, "So do not harden your hearts," to the church, "as happened in the rebellion of Israel and their provocation and embitterment of me in the day of testing in the wilderness, when your fathers tried my patience and tested my forbearance, and found I stood their test, and they saw my works for 40 years. And so I was provoked, displeased, and sorely grieved with that generation. And I said, they always err and are led astray in their hearts. Accordingly, I swore in my wrath and indignation, they shall not enter my rest." And so here's the warning. There's this discussion about this is what happened when they were going through the wilderness. They perished. They didn't pass the test. They tested God. It says they tested God's patience, but they did not. And it says the warning is to us in verse 12. It says, "Therefore, brethren," therefore, whoever you are out there, no matter what phase of your walk with God, "Therefore, brethren, take care lest there be in any one of you a wicked, unbelieving heart, which refuses to cleave to, trust in, or rely on him, leading you to turn away and desert and stand aloof from the living God." So here is as clear a warning as you can get that the doctrine of once saved, always saved is false. God is warning the church here. He is warning the church through the writer of Hebrews, and he's saying, you need to be warned because God delivered the Israelites out of Egypt, but they didn't make it into the promised land because they did not continue to trust God. And he's saying to the church, the same thing can happen to you. You could come into a place in your life where you actually, as it says, turn away and desert the living God. When you continue to read this passage, if you go on to Hebrews 4, it talks about what it meant to enter the rest of God. He had this great promise for the Israelites. They were going to enter into a land that was flowing with milk and honey. It was a land that was going to be God's given land that God promised Abraham many years before. It was going to be a land that they could settle in and have peace and rest. And he refers to it as entering his rest, coming through the wilderness, coming through the tests and the challenges, and coming into what is God's promises for their lives, the peace of God, the land that God had for them. But in Hebrews 4, it goes on, and it actually says this. It says, "Therefore, while the promise of entering his rest still holds and is offered today for us Christians, let us be afraid to distrust it, the promises of God, lest any of you should think he has come too late and has come short of reaching it. For indeed we have had the glad tidings proclaimed to us, just as truly as they, the Israelites, did of old, when they received the good news of deliverance from Egypt." But what it goes on and it says is, they failed to obtain the rest of God, because when God spoke to them, they did not mix the word of God with faith. Neither were they united in faith with the ones, Joshua and Caleb, who heard and did believe. So there is a warning there, and it says, even though God spoke to the Israelites and said, I'm going to give you this land of rest, this promised land, when God spoke to them, they did not mix faith. They did not believe God, adhere to him moment by moment. That's what God required back then, and that is what God requires now. And so he draws a line between the Israelites and then Joshua and Caleb, who are the two who actually chose to believe God. And there's a warning to us that says, if we don't mix faith when God speaks to us, if we don't rely on him with our whole heart, we will not enter the rest of God, just like they did not enter the rest of God. What is the rest of God for believers? Because we know and understand that there was a natural promised land for the Israelites. It was this land that was flowing with milk and honey, and they can raise their families and have rest, and they can serve their God. But the writer goes on and says, but there is a rest for us Christians. We understand as Christians that there's an ultimate rest that we have. Those who will believe in Jesus, endure to the end, we know that there is an ultimate rest, and that rest is eternity in heaven with Jesus Christ. It is the ultimate rest to be in the glory of God in his presence every single day in heaven. There is also a rest for every single believer right here and right now if we choose to live a life of faith and we literally give our lives to him moment by moment. And what happens is all of a sudden, all of the burdens we have, everything going on in our lives, all of the struggles, when we surrender to him, he takes those burdens from us, and we can then walk in trusting him, and we walk in God's rest today, every day. And so this is the warning to Christians by saying, you are being warned now. If you do not believe God, adhere to him with everything in you. When God speaks to you, you've got to grab hold of his word and trust him and believe him. Then you are not going to enter his rest, and you will perish just like the Israelites did. Now we can actually go back. It helps so much to understand what exactly happened to the Israelites that they turned their back on God. After all, God brought them through the Red Sea, and they saw it with their own eyes. What happened that God said the generation will not enter the promised land? Well, as they progressed through the wilderness, they came to the point of going into the promised land. In Numbers chapter 13, Moses actually says that God told him, go ahead and select 12 spies to go into the promised land, spy it out, and bring back the report to us of what type of land it is, and what type of people it is, and what type of fortifications they have. And basically, God was having them go in and plan for the future. They were about to enter the promised land. And so in Numbers 13, the spies are sent out, and they go out for 40 days, and they come back, and they are going to give a report. And when they come back, what they note, first of all, is that the land is actually just as God said. It was a land that was flowing with milk and honey. It had richness to it, and it was the land exactly as God had promised. However, what the spies continued to say was that there were giants in the land, and that the land was a place that was inhabited by many people who were strong, it says in verse 28. And the cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, therefore we saw the sons of Anak, which were giants of great stature and courage. And they go on and they list all of the enemies that live there. The Amalek dwells in the land, and the Hittite, and they go on. And then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it. We are well able to conquer it. But in verse 31, but his fellow scouts said, we are not able to go up against the people of Canaan, for they are stronger than we are. So you have two spies, Joshua and Caleb, who mixed faith. When God said, this is the promised land, I'm promising you, this land, and I'm giving it to you. They knew that God was going to do what he said. And we have 10 spies who look at the natural circumstances and they say, these cities are strong, they're fortified, and we see that there are giants there and there's all these nations there. We are not able to do so. What happens when those 10 spies utter these words is the entire nation of Israel grabs hold of this in fear, and they began to murmur and grumble and complain against Moses. Why did you lead us here? Why have you done this to us? We've come all the way this way, and now we're at the edge of the promised land, and we can't even go in because there's giants in the land. And they begin to have all these thoughts of, we can't do this. And what happens is God, in Numbers 14, his judgment comes on them. And God says, because they are not believing me, they will not enter the promised land. Furthermore, because they are not believing me, they shall wander in this wilderness for 40 years, 1 year for every day that the spies went into that promised land to spy it out. So now what we have is they chose to doubt God. And God said, because of that, you're not entering into my promises. You will die. You will perish. And we know what happens. What happens is that for 40 years, this generation wandered in the wilderness because they did not believe God. And when that generation perished, except for Joshua and Caleb, what happened was the new generation that was raised up was led by Joshua, and they were the ones who went into the promised land. So that is the warning in Hebrews chapter 3 and 4 for us. Now here is how we need to see how serious this is in our life. There are things in your life, in my life, that we face every single day. There are challenges, there are struggles, there are battles, there are temptations that go on every single day in our life. Now some of the battles that we face through our day are internal. They're things that are in our hearts that God is still purging and dealing with in our hearts. There's the temptations that we have to withstand every day. There's areas in our heart that maybe we've had in the past a pattern of giving our will to things, and now it's time to take it back, and all of those things that we've given our heart to are still there in our hearts. So these are battles that we face every day. God requires us to depend on him to be free from these things that are in our lives. God depends on us. God requires us to depend on him so that we can actually go through our day and go through these struggles. And it's so important for us to understand that when you face a battle every single day, when you're at your work and maybe you seem overloaded, maybe all of a sudden it's that one more thing that you didn't think you could do. You have so many things to do during your day, and maybe things aren't going right on your job and things are not working out, and all of a sudden here's that other thing that comes to you during the day, and it's that one thing that, how am I going to do this? These are all things that we walk through every day. The question is for us is, what happens through our day when we have these struggles, when we have these challenges? Do we worry? Do we fear? Are we frustrated? Do we have thoughts that I'm not going to be able to get this done today? I'm not going to be able to do this thing that I know I need to do. My day is going to turn out so bad. All of these thoughts, if we have these thoughts during the day, we are doing exactly what the children of Israel did. When they saw the giants, they said, we can't do it. This is too much. But what do we do through our day? When we have something that seems impossible, how am I going to get this done today? And all of a sudden we start to worry. We start to be afraid. We are doing exactly what the Israelites did. And God calls it a wicked heart of unbelief. If there are things in your heart that you are struggling with, I know there's so many areas that even when you are somebody who goes to church and you're a Christian, that doesn't mean that the devil is going to stop trying to tempt you. And so we as believers have to walk through things in our lives. And those things are the temptations, the things in our heart that God wants to free us from. But the devil will come and tell you that whatever sin is in your heart, that sin is too great to be free from. It's just too hard. Maybe it's lust. Maybe it's something that you have wrestled with for so many years. You have lustful thoughts, lustful desires. And the devil comes to you and says, this is too hard. You can't be free. You've tried and it's just too hard, and this is the way you are, and you're just going to have these problems. If you listen to that lie, you are doing what the Israelites did. You're doing what Hebrews chapter 3 says, that you will perish in the wilderness. You will perish and you will not enter God's rest. Because God has promised us that if we believe him, he will deliver us. He has promised us. Actually, it says in Romans 8 that because he went to the cross for us, he broke the power of sin for all those who choose to lead a life led by the Spirit of God. So actually, the Bible leads us through how to be free from sin. There's a relationship we have with the Holy Spirit, that when we submit our hearts and yield our hearts to the Holy Spirit, the Bible says in Romans 8 that he actually will bring us out of the sin in our lives. No matter what it is, no matter if it's that lustful desire that maybe plagues you day and night. If you surrender your life to Jesus and you will yield yourself to the Holy Spirit, moment by moment, God, lead me right now. God, I turn my heart to you right now. I'm faced with this. I feel this in my heart. I know it's not right. But God, I submit my heart to you. I turn my heart to you. Help me with this. Help me be free from this. And when you do that, it says that God runs to your cry and the Holy Spirit will actually lead you how to be free. And so whatever sin is in your life that you may be struggling with, it may be an area of difficulties in relationships where you maybe have a spouse and you all of a sudden you're having these arguments with your spouse. You're having there's something going on that's strife and division and one says this and the other says that, and all of a sudden you feel all of this frustration and anger. Those are things that God has promised in his word that we can walk free from. Because of what he did on the cross, we now have his grace and his power, which actually can bring us out. His delivering power is available for us. But if we listen to that lie of the devil that says, you can't be free from this strife between you and your spouse, it's just too great. You just need to leave. Maybe you need to get a divorce. What you're doing is you are looking at the giants and you are saying, this is too great. We cannot go into the promised land. And Hebrews 3 and 4 says this. It says, if you give to doubt and unbelief, you will perish just like the Israelites did. So all of these areas in our lives, these are things that we face every day. Many people think, well, to make it to heaven, I just got to believe in God and say a prayer and I'll go. That is contrary to the Word of God. That is false. If we're going to endure to the end, Hebrews 3 and 4 says that we have to make sure in our hearts every single moment that we guard our hearts not to fall into a wicked heart of unbelief. there are people that I know right now that I was just talking to last week. They're close to me, and they are going through a lot of struggles. And I've been encouraging them. They're going through a move. They're moving from one house to the other, and all of a sudden the husband had a stroke, and now his vision is impaired. Doctors are trying to find out what's going on with his vision, and the other spouse can't drive, can't see very well either. Now you have two people that are struggling, and they're in the middle of a move, and those are times in situations like that. It is the time when we have to realize that we must be like Joshua and Caleb. We must realize that we are going to have circumstances that seem impossible in the natural. But we must be like Joshua and Caleb, and we must say, I'm in a situation right now, I don't know what to do. You may be in a situation where you have a physical problem, maybe you have a diagnosis, maybe you have some kind of ailment and you can't seem to get free from it. And it tries to pull you down and make you depressed. But God says that we're supposed to be like Joshua and Caleb and realize that the giants in our life are things that God can help us overcome. And one of the keys to walking in faith in God and overcoming these barriers is to realize that we cannot do it on our own. Joshua and Caleb understood that when God said, I'm giving you this promised land, that they understood that it was going to be through God's ability. They knew that it was God's power that was going to be with them to do that. It wasn't that they looked to themselves. And so we have to have the same mind that when we go through our day and we go through these struggles, we have to realize that it's not us that have to carry this burden anyways. It is Jesus Christ that said that he will bring us through every single situation and that he runs to our cry. You know, Jesus said this. He said that you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven unless you become like a little child. He was referring to how children are trusting. They're lowly. They're dependent upon their mother and father. And they believe their parents when their parents tell them something. And Jesus said, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven unless you become like a little child. So Joshua and Caleb, even though they may have been very successful warriors, realized that they had to become like little children. And you and I need to do that as well. I want to close with a very serious warning in Revelations 21:8. And this is a time when God is speaking as to who will not be in heaven. And it starts off with, but as for the cowards and the ignoble and the contemptible, and it lists some other very serious sins, murder, idolatry. As for all those who commit such sins, their part is in the lake of fire. So he says, as for the cowards, those who are lacking in courage, those who are fearful and timid, their part is in the lake of fire. So God ends Revelations with a warning for everyone who is cowards, for everyone who is unbelieving, that they will end up in the lake of fire. So I want to encourage you today, do not be a coward. When you face those day-to-day trials, don't cower. Don't be afraid. Don't throw your hands up and say, I don't know what to do. When you face obstacles in your heart, don't let the devil tell you it's too much. You can't be free because God says you can. God says he'll take care of you. So let's not have a heart of doubt and unbelief. Let's have a heart that believes God every single moment so that we will be those who endure to the end. So thank you for listening. Again, this is Word of Faith Fellowship radio program, and we are on this program Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8:30 to 9. You can go to our website and see all our radio programs recorded. That is wordoffaithfellowship.org.